what's on your heart today? Like what's coming up for you right now?
Oh, that's a great question. Um, well, for the whole world, we can talk astrology. There are seven planets in the sign of Aries today. Over the next number of 72 hours is the time for us individually. The world is crazy mad, that's true. But the time for us each individually to really work out, and I would advise to write it down, although this will be long after when it's aired, but write out your dreams because with everything coming into Aries now, it's all about us coming out of that winter that we were just talking about. There's this planet Neptune, which is a planet of dreams and illusion and deception, has been hiding away in the sign of Pisces, doing the inner work on us for a number of years since 2012, I believe, or if not 13, so a very long time. And it entered the sign of Aries this year. So everything that we've been dreaming in for the last decade or more is now seeking full expression in a life. So collectively, that is on my mind today because tomorrow is a poignant time when that full lineup holds in the sky. We as astrologers have not found any evidence of that ever being that way before. So this is major initiatory fire energy. The world will get a little crazier, but that's going to start to calm down, I believe, in the time of May. But it really is a turning point for everything we've seen happening since the 2020s, 2020 and on. Major energy in the sky. That's what's on my mind collectively. Personally, what's on my mind more, when I think personally, I think of my business because that is who I am, how I'm serving the world. And I'm morphing through, thinking through in my mind and bringing forth the reality of my dreams, if you will. How do I help? How do I help each individual that I work with to navigate this time of their life?
Mm,
Navigate in whatever time of life you're in, be it your 20s, your 30s, your 40s, they're all different times. And for the young people, it's hard to imagine that. But the 20s is just the beginning. But all the way to the 70s, and I work with clients in, early 80s, actually, a gentleman 82 years old. So there's always a chapter. And so it's about the time of life, and yet how do we use this collective energy that's in the world right now? The major transformation that's happening, where the old systems are falling and humanity's consciousness is rising. We were talking about how we now are attuned with our spirituality. And yes, that can be Christianity, Buddhism, whatever, but it can also just be your own belief system too. And
yeah.
so, how now we are more in tune with that as opposed to needing to go to a place of worship and work through the middleman to get to the higher consciousness. So
Yeah.
it's a whole new time in humanity. I'm delighted to be here doing this work and speaking with you and your audience about it. As I said a while ago when we were getting ready, I listened to a number of your shorts and the guests that you have on, they're varied, they're wide, they're coming from all different angles, if you will, but all the same place,
Yeah.
which is how do we each center ourselves within? And I loved one woman was talking about how going within is really where the answers are, and it is. But how do we all settle into that space and stop those mental machinations, from society and the dogma and the structured systems that are crumbling that tell us that we're not good enough
Mm,
or we don't deserve to be. All of those crazy things. I say to the audience, these are times like no other, and our personal spiritual sovereignty is what is up to be met nowadays.
yes. Yes, Jeannie. I absolutely agree with
I have a
everything you
lot
just
on my
said.
mind.
Thank you so much. Yeah. Where do we start? Where do we start? Okay, let's start from the alignment of the planets. I'd love for
Mhm.
you to get a bit more into explaining what what it is, like what's going on, and exactly why, like what are the energies that are actually coming through in the positioning that's happening right now. And I think we're about to head into like a full moon as well, right? Is that today or
Yes,
tomorrow?
that is tomorrow. It's a
Yeah,
new moon. It's a
it's a
new
new
moon,
moon.
Kertia.
Yeah, a
It's a
new
new
moon.
moon. It's a new moon.
And
And
yeah,
I would love to share that with you and your audience. I have a couple of ways to do that. Tomorrow morning, I'm actually holding a presentation. I have a 5 slide deck, uh, a 5 slide deck, yes, about this lineup. I could bring that up and show you and walk you through these energies that way. I think that would be extremely powerful. And I could certainly show you the astrological chart, what's going on in the sky today, and so that everybody gets a sense of the visual. So I'd love to do it two ways if you don't mind, and
of
have it as a
course,
teaching moment. And if you, I'm bringing up some files here, and if you allow me to have a screen share,
definitely.
that's going to make it all the much better. And bear with me while I get my things open here. Um, let's see.
Yeah, I'm definitely excited about this.
Yes, this is amazing. So first thing I'm going to do is share my screen. So everybody will see my host screen. I have no, well, actually I could probably, let's see, share, advanced, and what I want to do is share, share document. You know what? I'm just going to do the whole thing because it just makes it easier. So first of all, Kertia, you've gone off to the right, upper right corner for me, which is fine.
Yeah.
These are the transits of the sky today, right now as we're talking, 11:13 on this particular day. And
Mm.
I just wanted to give a visual. See all these planets up here? See
Wow.
that red sign? That is the sign of Aries, the constellation Aries.
Hmm.
And Aries is the first sign of the zodiac. So actually, we are in the new year of the zodiac. It started at the spring solstice last month.
Yeah.
So it's the new year of the zodiac. But here we find the sun, which is our radiant center. So think of the world's radiant center is expressing through the fiery warrior, protector sign of Aries. So we
Hmm.
always hear about Aries that it's the warrior energy. It is. It's the fighter, but the fighter can also be the protector. Think Robin Hood, right?
Yeah.
And that's where I come from. Is that protect? Let's protect the others that can't protect themselves
Yeah.
as a species, right? Chiron, the wounded healer, is sitting in the sign of Aries. So in the sign of Aries, um, it asks us to think about our right to exist. So it's a powerful way of looking at our value. Do we have a right to exist, each individually? Aries is the sign of the individual, the I am. Who am I in this world? The
Hmm.
moon is in the sign of Aries. Now, the moon moves quickly, so it's only there for a couple of days, and it will be in an exact, it will align exactly to the sun tomorrow at 7:52 in the morning Eastern Standard Time. That is officially the new moon tomorrow morning. And right at that new moon, being that it's Aries, it is the most powerful new moon of the year to write down pen on paper what you're dreaming in, what you're seeking to bring forward in, and file it away, date it and file it away. The order has been laid the moment you write it down, but you must write it down,
Yeah.
right? Saturn, Saturn is the planet of discipline and structure. And so it's going to bring structure into how we realize these dreams that we've had in our heart and soul over these last, decade, more decade or more. The other sign that's in Aries is Mars. Well, Mars rules Aries, and so this is more fire. Now, probably a lot of people realize that this is the Chinese year of the fire horse.
Yes. Yeah.
We're galloping through at full speed,
Yeah.
and this Aries lineup shows it big time. This has never happened before. Not all
Wow.
these planets together. And here, and so Mars is there. The next planet is Neptune. Now, what's interesting is in astrology, a lot of it is interesting. It's the symbolic language of the psyche of the soul. Period. The end. I can read anybody's chart and show the individual what the soul's intention is for this lifetime and what the blockages are and what the helpers are. It's
Yeah.
very clear in the birth chart
Yeah.
using evolutionary astrology. Now, the planet Neptune is interesting. Neptune is the planet of spirituality and mysticism, first and foremost. And it is ruled, it is ruled by Pisces. It's the planet that rules Pisces. Pisces is also spirituality and mysticism. It left, it left the sign of Pisces earlier this year, a couple of months ago for good. It dipped in a few times last year. And what this brings out for each and every one of us, when we talk about a planet like Neptune, Kertia, we're talking about a slow moving planet. It takes 164 years to get around the whole wheel.
Mm.
So its energy is felt on the collective, it's generational energy. And we are now ushering in a generational time till 2040,
Mm.
2040 of the spiritual warrior, the
Whoa.
individual. Now, this is big for you and your audience and your show, the spiritual warrior. Now, I don't know what your energy is, but hopefully you'll send me some detail afterwards and we can see where this Aries lineup is happening for you. And then there's Mercury. Mercury is the planet of communication, thinking, talking, reading, writing, everything that you're doing here on this podcast. And it's being fired up by Mercury. All right, so 7 planets there. Now, what does this all mean? Well, tomorrow morning in this lovely community called Counsellor, I'll be presenting this presentation. And so the Aries ignition, it's 7 planets that are really lighting the fuse of the new era. You heard me mention 2020. Well, that ushered in COVID. But a lot of these planets, outer planets, so let me do a little bit of astronomy. Pluto, the furthest out in our solar system, very slow movement, 254 years to go around the whole zodiac. Further in from that is Neptune. And then there is Uranus, and then there's Saturn. And these 4 planets move fairly slow. So they've all switched signs in the last 2 years.
Mm.
Unprecedented, unprecedented. They've
Wow.
all entered in new generational energy. Pluto has entered the sign of Aquarius. Aquarius is the sign that rules humanity and the people. When the United States Declaration of Independence was penned, it starts, "We the people." Those words were written the last time Pluto was in Aquarius. And it really signals the energy of now, this current time. So not only are we seeing the spiritual warrior, but we're seeing the spiritual warrior as the protector of the people. This is the energy that I see. And this lineup really lights the fuse of all of what's been coming forward. The universe is calibrating. And this is a foreshadowing of a revolutionary change. Yeah, the world is crazy, folks. It's going to be crazy for a while longer. These are end times like have never been, never ever been. We're all here for a reason, is the message. And we all must learn how to navigate these energies for the purpose of our soul. And so, yes, I'm an evolutionary astrologer and I'm a metaphysician and I'm other things, but I'm very passionate about my work. And I truly believe that when you know your stars, when you have an evolutionary consultation done on your birth chart, you understand yourself at a level that you would never understand before. Carl Jung, the most notable psychologist of the 20th century, was an astrologer.
Mm.
And he is quoted as saying he knew more about a client in 2 hours with their chart than months in consultation, if he could ever get there. So what an evolutionary astrologer is trained to do is to teach these things to you, the client, so that you understand what's the makeup. What am I made of? What are all these energies that I'm feeling? And you are feeling them. What's the time of life that I'm in? How are these energies I was born with going to be influenced by what's happening with the Aries lineup, for example? Because that too does influence it. And so it stops the mental machinations, which is really what causes the pain in life, isn't it? Because we don't know. We don't know who we are. We don't know where we belong. And we don't then, therefore, feel empowered. So back to the Aries lineup, Kertia. That all led into, I believe that we all need to individually explore how this era aligns with our birth chart. And we need to prepare to live out our unique blueprint in the wave of awakening consciousness, because we really are in that, a
Yeah.
wave of awakening consciousness. So, and there's a lovely picture of the ram, which is the symbol for Aries. And here's a cool picture of, a DNA strand out here on the right-hand side. Human DNA is being redefined
Mm.
at an energetic level. It truly is. And so it's a rare lineup. It's happening on tomorrow, April 17th. Seven planets will align in Aries. The energies, as I said, the Sun, the Moon, Mercury, Mars, Saturn, Neptune, and Chiron converge. Rare, rare, rare stellar cluster. Someone found something somewhat close to it from 1702, and that is it. The Aries new moon will ignite a profound reset, both globally and personally. We'll look back at this time. We can all look, again, I don't know why COVID's in my mind, but 2020, we can look back at that time. We all have a COVID story as to how we were blessed by that moment, even in the midst of the loss that we may have experienced.
Yeah. Yeah.
All of that led up to this. That lockdown was really was a calling, a calling for humanity to not be locked down. And so this Aries lineup activates the Aries point. Aries point, very beginning of the zodiac, very beginning of the zodiac for all of us, ushering in a grand transformation on the world stage
Mm.
is what it's doing.
Powerful.
Yeah. It's extremely powerful. And so you might remember that I spoke about what's the era, what's led up to this. Started in 2024 when Pluto finally entered the sign of Aquarius, ushering in a new era. Aquarius rules, yes, the people, and also technology in a
Mm.
big way. And we're seeing a lot of that. Look at the AI.
Yeah. Yeah.
2026, Neptune and Saturn, one right after another, entered Aries. They're there now. Saturn will be in Aries for 2.5 years and Neptune until 2040. These energies for these couple of years are merging the spiritual vision with structured action.
Mm.
This shift will demand we build, and I love this, Kertia, for you and your audience and everybody you speak with and your messaging. I love doing these podcasts because I meet folks like you that are out there teaching and making it happen, bringing the knowledge. This shift demands we build a personal and responsible world of sovereign identity.
Yeah.
Let's talk about sovereign identity, right?
Yeah.
So it doesn't mean as individuals. It means that we are sovereign in ourselves. Again, back to the birth chart. Sovereign in who you are, the energy you came in with. And then collectively together in Aquarian fashion, we forge the new world.
Mm.
And so in 2026, again, now this is going to happen on the 25th of April. So see 24, 26. Remember I talked about the outer planets, Pluto, Neptune, Saturn. Here's Uranus. Uranus has a 7-year orbit. It's going to enter the sign of Gemini on the 25th of the month, this month, igniting a tidal wave of technological and communication innovation. If we think we've seen it, we haven't seen it yet. This is going to be massive. It's going to be there for 7 years. decentralized networks and rapid information flow create a new era, Kertia, of free thought and learning. And with you being a podcast host, I'd be surprised if Gemini was not prominent in your chart. You've got Gemini there because you're out there leading and communicating. You see? So now Uranus comes in, and what that's going to do for you when it gets close to whatever your energies are in the sign of Gemini, it's going to ignite. Think of it like the earthquake and electricity together.
Mm.
And it's going to ignite the change to bring more of your uniqueness out and how you communicate to your audience. That will happen.
Wow.
I, you know, how can I be so sure that will happen? I ask myself. I'm hoping people are thinking, well, how could she be so sure? I've charted my entire life through all of these major things, and it blew my mind. I've worked with so many clients now that I've seen their life print. And then every time in a consultation, we not only look at your birth chart, we look at the changing sky, we look at what's coming. And working with these clients over the years, I've seen the change take place. Now, I can't predict. I can't say, well, that will happen to that. But I can certainly show you what the energy is going to be, and I can show you the arena in life that that energy is going to play out in. How you bring it forth is dependent on your free will, but it will happen. Energy is happening all the time, and nothing stands still.
Yeah.
2026, we are ending the Pisces collective shadow.
Yep.
You know it, right, sister? You know it. We are. And we're no longer willing, as sovereign individual energy beings, part of a full collective picture, we're no longer willing to give our sovereignty away.
Mm.
So we are ushering in the Aries awakening of that. And here's the fish giving way to the ram, a powerful release of the past struggles as the collective conscious claims individual courage, because Aries is all about courage.
Mm.
And so, again, wherever Aries is in your birth chart, this is where you're asked to develop courage in this lifetime. And wherever Aries is in anybody's birth chart is where they're receiving this massive energy at this time. So again, I would love to look at yours just to give you this is where it's happening for you afterwards.
Definitely, definitely.
Um, Now, so we're talking about collective transformation and a rebirth
Yeah.
from the ashes, bold leadership. A new generation of leaders rise. It will happen. Now, notice the three arms. They're there for a reason.
Yeah.
Okay. It is the warrior and the protector is the way to think about it.
Mm.
Yes, we need to push back. There needs to be resistance, but I'm always reminded of Martin Luther King
Mm.
and his way of doing it, right? Violence does not solve violence.
Yes, exactly.
A new generation of leaders rises, challenging old power with courage and leading change. So, folks, we're living through this. You will see it. There's never ever been anything like going back to the way it was. That could never happen, and it never ever has happened. So here we are, and we need to understand our individual roles and our sovereignty in the collective whole. Innovation waves. This is happening. A wave, big time, sweeps the globe. Technological breakthroughs will ignite a new market storm. Direct action and truth confront the core of the conflict, seek decisive solutions, and shatter all illusions. This is happening. We're going to shatter the illusions, and they have been holding us for a very long time. Soul warrior awakening, awakened warriors of the soul, uniting strength through sincere action to achieve unity. And global sovereignty. Look at this, all of the flags, global sovereignty, a global consciousness reshaping. Nations will redefine their unique sovereignty. And just as I was talking about the unique sovereignty of us as individuals, but all part of the collective, the
Yes.
nations will eventually get there. Will we see it in our lifetime? This is a long process, but we will certainly see it try to happen,
Yeah.
right? How it happens and how it happens faster, and I think you would agree with this, is if we all do our part the way I've described, and not only that way, I'm not the be all end all. I don't have all the answers. But we must be true to ourselves
Yeah.
and we must be true to the people around us, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah.
And so then I'd love to talk about generations, but before I go there, I've taken over the show. Is there anything you'd like to add for your audience?
Oh my gosh, this is amazing. I love everything that you're laying out right
Okay.
now. You can already see the energies playing out. The only question I have right now before you continue is how can we begin to position ourselves? Because this is like a rapid fire
Yes, it
energy that's
is.
happening right
Yeah,
now. And
yeah.
some people might not feel like they're ready for it. So, how can we think about how we can position ourselves, better position ourselves to actually move through this transition that's taking place?
I love that question. And you won't be surprised at my answer. Know who you are,
Mm,
why you were born, what your birth chart says about the energies that the soul is seeking to express in this lifetime. Because the soul is alive at this point in this lifetime, living through there was a great word one of your guests used, but it leaves me now. But living through our embodiment, right? For a reason. Each and every one of us matters. Each and every one of us. And so we're the ripple in the pond, right? So how do we do it? Step away from the madness. Step away from the social media. It is designed to keep you in fear, very definitely.
yeah,
As long as it keeps you there, you cannot do the good for humanity. And so, see, it is a control structure. You cannot do the good for humanity. Step away, find the right source that gives you just what you need to know because you do need to be tuned in. But you don't need to listen to talking heads promoting fear. Get the news the best way you can, is my number one bit of advice. Secondly, learn more about who you are. Learn more about what your role is here now at this point in time in your life. And that leads straight into the chart, the slide that we're looking at. Life unfolds in generations. All
yeah,
right. Generation Z, Gen Z, ages 20 to 30 years old. These are our courageous pathfinders. And, for folks in their 70s and over and 60s and over, we want to honor the Gen Zers. You see, they came in, they were born in a different energy than we were born in. They're not what they're not to be dismissed,
yeah,
right? They are meant to be honored. Every generation is, for its part. And so, but they are our courageous pathfinders. And for all the Gen Zers listening in, I want you to know that that is your role. Forging unique paths, overturning old norms. You're meant to do that at this point. The millennials, 30 to 40, these are the purpose reinventors, right? This is, in your 30s and 40s, the time of life. It's the time of life where, and a lot of times it isn't done this way. People wait until their late 40s, but it is the time where you reinvent your purpose.
yeah,
We've moved beyond all of our childhood dreams. We moved beyond even when they carried into our 20s. We reached 30. We're in our 30s. We're in our 40s. It's time to reinvent our true purpose based on why we're truly here, not why everybody else told us we are here. Reshaping careers and purposes leading life to peak.
Yeah.
That is what the millennials are to be doing. In this new era, Generation X, the 40 to 50, power reclaimers, igniting middle age fire, living unrealized power. That is the role. This is what that age group needs to be looking to do. The baby boomers, these are the legacy builders, igniting generational legacy, boldly leading the next generation. 60 to 70, you're not done yet. I've got news for you. As long as we're here, we're not done. And that's the beauty of it.
Oh,
And
yeah.
just how I said we have to honor the Gen Z. I want every generation has to honor every generation.
Yeah.
I'm reminded of, in my mom's generation, it was the generation gap, when one could not talk to the other.
Yeah.
We need to let the gray in there, and we need to reach across lines, really,
Mm.
truthfully. So 60 to 70, the wisdom pioneers, activate inner wisdom. Those are the wisdom years. They're beautiful years. It's not a time of decline. It's the time when we get to bring forth all of the wisdom that we've garnered throughout our lifetime and create a new paradigm for our life, ourselves, our families, our communities, and the ripple. 70 and plus. These are the self-mastery architects. You get to self-mastery, achieving self-mastery, fully realizing life's grand plan. But what is life's grand plan? What is my purpose? So many of us struggle with answering that question. When you know who you are through the energy that you were born with in your birth chart, through evolutionary astrology, you better understand life's grand plan for you. And life's grand plan will play out whether you're tuned into it or not. It plays out easier and more successfully when you are.
Mm.
When you are. And it's never too late. Never too late. The gentleman I met with at the age of 82, still going strong. And he said, "This is so empowering to hear this all now. I felt it. I could never put it into words. And now I know what I've been struggling to get to is what I was supposed to go to."
Mm.
You see, that really
Beautiful.
that really ignited me. And so there are four pillars of the new era. Your cause and what is your cosmic role in consciousness rising, right, Kertia?
Yeah.
Pillar number one, Pluto in Aquarius. Here we're talking about collective liberation beyond political parties. We do need structure, unfortunately, but it's got to be a different structure.
Yeah.
Structure, people need boundaries. Otherwise, all mayhem comes. And I believe it comes because there are always going to be dark forces in people that will cause them to want to go to places that aren't good for everybody else, right? So we
Yeah.
have to have some structure. So Pluto is asking us to transform power structures into innovative freedom. Personally, you're being asked to discover your unique genius in groups.
Mm.
We are community beings. Discover your unique genius in groups. Find your group, find your people, and work with them to bring the change. Your role is to pioneer decentralization and humanitarian futures. We have not treated humans well, and
Yeah.
that's got to stop, right? Pluto in Aquarius is really going to bring it. This is a 254-year cycle. This is big. We won't see it all,
Wow.
Kersha, but
Wow.
we're here at the beginning. So it's important for all of us here at the beginning of that to do our part. Pillar two, Neptune and Aries. This is visionary selfhood. Infuse dreams with pioneering courage. There's that courage again. A lot of pain in life and a lot of seeking healing in the next self-help book and all of that is because of fear. And so courage is the antidote for fear, right? Feel the fear and do it anyway with the courage. And so we need to reach for that courage and don't, and we need to not allow everything and everyone outside of us, because all that matters is what's inside of us. All of that out there cannot tell us what we are capable of being, doing, and having. Only
Right.
we can say that.
Yeah.
And that's where that visionary selfhood comes in and that courage. Now, Neptune's going to be in Aries. And so this is where, the water of Neptune, the illusion, delusion of Neptune meets fire and takes action. Personally, this is spiritual identity awakening, whatever your spiritual identity turns out to be. And this is another thing that we must honor in each and every individual, because each and every individual soul is at a different level of spiritual acceptance and ability,
Yeah.
right? Folks that are that work through their spirituality by going to church or going to temple or going to the mosque, whichever the ways are, we honor you because you're doing it. You're doing it your way. And that's do that. For folks that think that isn't the place for them and they're more going to go sit at the top of a mountain and meditate and not eat for days, that's cool too, right? We honor
Yeah.
that. And so we must honor each and everybody's individual spirituality
True.
because it's unique to who we are. And nobody is like anybody else. In fact, your birth chart is completely one of a kind. There will never be another you. So you must do it your way. And lead with intuition, your intuition. And collectively, we're going to be dissolving ego illusions and working towards that sovereign unity. We must dissolve those ego illusions to do that. That will happen. The fire is gonna dissolve the water of the illusion. Pillar 3, Uranus and Gemini. This is kicking in on April 25th. Electric ideas. We're all going to be thinking electrically. Lots of ideas are going to be coming. Revolutionary ideas in communication and learning. Learning is going to go a whole new way. Higher education, going a whole new paradigm coming in. Personally, we will have breakthrough insights that reshape our minds. That
Mm.
will happen. Now, just a moment about where was Uranus before it entered Gemini? So where is it today? It's in the sign of Taurus. And it's been there for 7 years. So Uranus in the sign of Taurus. Taurus rules resources. Taurus rules Wall Street in the United States. That's why the bull is there. The bull in Taurus. And so it rules resources, money. It also rules skills and it rules possessions. But at a soul level, it rules self-worth. And so in these last 7 years, we've been asked to ignite revelations in our self-worth.
Yeah.
And I believe we've all seen that happening. And there's been a strengthening of the self-worth.
Yeah.
And now we're going to come forward with the ideas because we're more empowered. So breakthrough ideas and insights reshape the mind. And everyone's role is to spot vital truths in the information age.
Mm.
And moving on to pillar 4, and we have just one more slide. And moving on to pillar 4, Saturn and Aries. So Saturn is a planet, planet number 7 out there that, before telescopes, that was all anybody ever saw was Saturn. That was considered to be the edge of our solar system. And then along came Uranus and Neptune and Pluto, which is considered a dwarf planet, but nonetheless, Pluto carries a big bang in astrology, big power, transformative power. Saturn takes 2.5 years to orbit a astrological sign, so it will be in Aries for 2.5 years. It just entered last month, February 14th. Last month before, my gosh, time goes
Yeah.
by.
Yeah.
Saturn is about discipline in structure. And so it's going to bring discipline to everything that I've said up till now. individual discipline. And isn't that a good thing?
Mm.
Because with some discipline, we can really make things happen. It would bring us the focus to achieve that goal. That dream that we've been dreaming while Neptune was in Pisces since 2012, 2013, just, our heads swimming in the water and, lost out there. Now comes forward in fire, and it's time to make that dream take shape. And Saturn is going to give the discipline to do that for each and every one of us. Saturn is all about building lasting structures through bold action when it's in Aries. Aries is very bold. And so personally, we're being called to master self-discipline for authentic power. Collectively, we're being called to anchor the era with responsible leadership.
Mm.
Responsible leadership.
Mm.
So thank you for the opportunity to share all of this. I think slide 7
Beautiful.
is more, yes, it's more promotional, but this is how people do reach me. But coming back to this, um, amazing times, right? Amazing times. So
Amazing.
here we are again. Here's the chart right now. Now things have moved a little bit. Yep. So when we were looking at it a moment ago, majority of things were up here, but that's because the wheel is always turning. Right
Yeah.
now, this sign is on the eastern horizon. So with astrology in your birth chart, it's very important to know the time and location. And with the time and location, we can know exactly what zodiac sign was on the horizon when you were born. And this is this sign that I'm pointing to over here on the far left of the wheel. That upside down 6 and 9 is the sign of Cancer right now. Cancer is the zodiac sign on the horizon. If somebody is born right now where I am, all of that lined up, this would be their birth chart.
Yeah.
You see? So imagine the people born today and tomorrow and into Saturday. They are
Mm.
born with this full Aries lineup.
Wow.
This is them.
Powerful. Powerful
And
enough.
what is also extremely powerful about that, Kertia, is if you see the middle here, you see these blue lines and these red lines. This is the geometry. So let's assume this is somebody's birth chart. They were born just now, right where I am. And so this is their birth chart. And what you're seeing are some beautiful blues, trines, and sextiles, we call them, to significant points in the chart. And it says a lot about who this individual will seek to become in this lifetime, what their soul is looking to be, do, and have.
Mm.
And if I would have just pushed this out a year just for the fun of it, now this is a very different person.
Mm.
Okay. Yeah. So I'm going to stop share unless there's anything you'd like me to go over a little bit more.
Wow, that was amazing. Thank you so much, Jeannie.
You're welcome.
So good. I mean, one question that stood out to me as you were speaking is, when we talk about sovereignty, when we talk about knowing yourself, knowing who you are,
Yes.
what would you say is, because I know like when you think about it, those are huge things to think about, right? Personal
Mhm.
sovereignty, collective sovereignty. Who
Yes.
am I? What is my path? What is my purpose? Those are really
Yeah.
huge questions. So, for the person who's probably just sitting somewhere listening to this who doesn't have an astrologer to reach out to right now at this very moment, what is what is the question that you would encourage them to ask themselves to kind of begin to give themselves, to direct themselves towards truly beginning to look at the bigger picture of their lives and why they're here and what their purpose is and how they are meant to play at this
Mm.
time through these transitions?
Mm. Well, that's quite a question. We can find a lot of information on the internet. And with AI, we have to be careful because it does kind of like tell stories, but nonetheless, it's still quite effective. If you know your birthday, date, location, time. There are many sources online where you can pull a free birth chart, first and foremost.
Yeah.
So you'll be able to get a picture. So when I pull somebody's birth chart, to me it's like a work of art. It is an energetic footprint. And just looking at that picture is going to do something to your psyche. It just is. You won't understand it. And yes, you can use AI, you can use everything online to try and understand it and decipher it yourself. But you're almost too close to the answer, if you know what I mean. You
Right.
need an objective view of it. And I don't say that just to promote consultations. I truly believe that. I worked with astrologers my whole life, all right, before I actually saw that it was in my life destiny to do this work myself. However, pull that chart, poke around, okay, but ask yourself, when will I be ready to know more about the energy I was born with and how this energy is going to play out through my life, through the various generations of my life. What is my soul seeking to become? So in astrology, we have the signs. I spoke a little bit about those. We have the houses and we have planets. Where the planets land in a house tells us which arena of life the soul is seeking to grow through, evolve through. It may be the personality, the first house of I am. It may be the seventh house of relationships. It may be the 10th house of career. It may be the second house of lots of money and self-worth. But understanding that, so you understand why you're drawn to do certain things in your life and not be so toiled, and I said toiled, when people tell you you're crazy or you shouldn't be doing that and that's not the way people do it and et cetera, et cetera. Well, you're not people, you're you.
Yeah.
So the straight message is I get somebody's listening here today. Pull your birth chart, look at it, understand the layout of things, and then look for where your south node is and your north node is. This is the horseshoe. It's the upside down horseshoe for the south node, up right side for the north node. South node in evolutionary astrology will tell us the energies of the prior life that came into this lifetime with you, call it karma, to be worked through.
Mm.
And the north node is the remedy. It is the answer. Now, it would be great if it was, and they are always opposite. It would be, and they land in a house. So it says, well, where are these things looking to express through? And they might have planets sitting right next to them that are amping them up or opposing them, that are creating the friction. And this is what a properly trained astrologer is going to be able to pull out for you. And again, I will say evolutionary astrology because that is spiritual based astrology. It's the type of astrology that seeks to answer the question, why do I have the chart I have? Why? Why do I have a sun in Gemini? Why and what is the soul seeking to do in this lifetime? Because when you understand these things, the need for another self-help book, it gets less because
Yeah.
you know who you are. You know who you are. And so then your whole life is spent not trying to figure out who you are. It's it's spent understanding how to work with the energies of who you are in this lifetime.
Beautiful. Beautiful.
Thank you.
Yeah, Jeannie.
There's no easy answer to just pulling an astrology chart. It's quite
Yeah.
something. So,
Yes. Wow. There's so much in there. And when you were talking about the South Node and the North Node,
yeah.
I'd love for you to get into it a little bit and talk about how these past energies can be remedied by
Mhm.
the energy that you came here with in this life?
Oh, many examples there. So the one thing that transcends death and rebirth is emotion. And these are the south node and the north node is the south node and north node of the moon. The moon is motion. And they're calculated points, just by the way. But at any rate, the south node holds the soul's emotional DNA of a past life, what we experienced. And we can almost think of it as like the energy that we left that lifetime in. And so many examples come to my mind, but I'll give the example of a south node in the first house of I am the individual. I am the sovereign individual. It's Aries energy. The first house is ruled by Aries. So a client, let's say, has a south node there. And sitting right next to that south node, right on top of it, is the planet Mars. All right. Now, that south node is with the planet Mars right next to it, tells us that this individual was a warrior in a prior life,
Mm,
that there was a lot of aggression, a lot of anxiety, and likely the person died in combat.
mm,
That is so prominent there.
mm,
Now, it's in the first house, which is the house of the warrior. I am individual. That is the south node. Yet the north node is always opposite. So it's landing in the seventh house, let's say, of this client. That's how it would line up. The
yeah.
seventh house rules marriage and relationships. Now, this client expresses to me that throughout her life, and she's been divorced now 3 times, throughout her life, she has combative relationships that end in fury.
Wow.
And she then goes back to being alone, her individual self, her sovereign self in the first house. And so what this client has learned is that for her, the battle was already fought and it was already won. She needs to leave the battle behind. That her North Node is seeking for her to understand the aggression and why it's there, and to seek the partner that is more right for her than the others have been, because we were able to see other things in the seventh house, such
Yeah.
as Neptune being there, which says that her partner needed to be a spiritual individual, and they had not been. You see?
Wow.
So, what type of a partner are you seeking in this life? Your North Node will be happy, and it's drawing you to be in relationship, but you have a soul memory of losing the battle and protecting yourself outside of relationship. Doesn't make it easy, does not make it easy, but really helped understand. And she's dating again, I'm happy to say. So that's just one example. I mean, I can go the 12 there's, and it's always the juxtaposition of the houses that tell us the story. Leo, who's the performer, Leo South Node performer in the 12th house. This is the performer that hides herself. She has a soul memory of hiding herself from being the performer. But yet Aquarius, the opposite of that, is in her 5th house. Aquarius is opposite of Leo. And she is to be out there on the stage in a unique way, expressing herself. Now, she's got other things going on in the chart, which cause her to always question her self-worth.
Mm,
So now I'm working with this client in my larger program, and she understands this energy. We all feel the emotional triggers when the North Node is calling us and the South Node is seeking to protect us. We can feel it physically. It's that thing that goes on in our stomach, right? She now knows the physical pain that comes with the resistance toward moving forward and evolving away from these emotional energies. And she's able to name them, give them a funny name, and we're moving on. The particular client that I spoke about earlier with Mars, she calls it Marsy. Oh no, Marsy, not now. you know? And so we make light of it. But the truth of the
I
matter
love
is,
that.
it was a very painful experience for her through
Yeah.
decades of her life. And she
Yeah.
didn't understand it. Now, many self-help books, many everything, but no one could explain it to her like the evolutionary astrology could. Yeah.
Beautiful. Jeannie,
Thank
thank
you,
you
Kertia.
so much. Wow. This was phenomenal. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
You're welcome. Delighted.
Amazing. Wow. Is there anything that you wanted to leave us with today? You gave already so much, but if there's anything else that you'd love to leave us with, please feel free. And then you could just tell us where we can find you, your work, and anything else that you have going on.
I would like to leave everyone with the truth that life is magic.
Mm.
Even when we're in our lowest moments, there's magic to be found there. And I that is my clear message right there. Learn who you are so you can see where to find the magic in yourself when you need it most, what to call on, right? That is really it. And Kersha, I love what you do. I keep doing what you're doing. You're going to send me your details. And folks can reach me at my website, jeannecomeau.com. And they can sign on for a consultation. You'll see that ability there. And also, please sign up for my newsletter, because even if astrology isn't right for you now, if it's not time to delve into that journey, tune into my newsletter so you're able to read a short monthly discourse that I put out. And hopefully that will add more value to your timing.
Thank you so much,
Thank you.
Jeannie, for your time. This has been amazing.